A top story on India Business Hour. The government moves to revive the controversial DABHOL power plant ropes in railways as the new stakeholder. Power Minister expects operations to begin from November of this year.
When a depressive environment prevails in terms of investment or even demand all over the world, India is the only one which is defying or bucking that trend.
India is getting more business-friendly. It jumps 16 places in the World Economic Forum's competitiveness rankings, but still lags behind emerging market peers at the 55th position.
The Ambani brothers are set to join hands for the telecom tie-up. Anil Ambani announces that Reliance Communications is in the final stages of sealing a spectrum sharing deal with Reliance Jio.
Strong global cues lift sentiment on the Lal Street. The Nifty slams a century to inch closer to the 8,000 mark. But after the first 6 months of FY16, the Nifty is still down over 6%.
HCL Tech issues a profit warning once again, says forex fluctuation will hit revenues in the second quarter of the fiscal. Also sets aside $20 million to settle a dispute with a multi-million-dollar client.
We told you first, and it's now official. The government hands an 18% cut to the price of gas. From $5.18 per unit, the gas price will now be $4.24 per unit. This would cost the exchequer about 800 crore rupees.
In the largest office space deal in India, Godrej sells over 4 lakh square feet in Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai to Abbott for nearly 1,500 crore rupees. CNBC TV 18 was the first to report about this deal.
Castleton's fight with the government ends. The centre tells the Supreme Court that the company is not liable to pay the minimum alternate tax.
Petrol, diesel, alcohol, cigarettes, cold drinks and jewellery set to get expensive in Maharashtra. State government hiked surcharge to cover for financial relief provided to drought-hit farmers.
Home and car loans get cheaper after State Bank of India, Axis Bank and Punjab National Bank ease interest rates.
मैं आज ये कहना चाहता हूं, वो साइड इफेक्ट की तैयारी के साथ भी काले धन के खिलाफ कठोरता से काम लेने की दिशा में हम आगे बढ़े.
No honest taxpayer has anything to pay here. It's targeted only against those who have stacked assets abroad.
Most of these investigations are in very advanced stage, and they will be taken to their logical conclusion. And logical conclusion would include collection of tax, collection of penalty, and of course prosecution.
The clock is ticking, and midnight tonight, the window for people to disclose their unaccounted wealth abroad will end. The government will be launching criminal proceedings against those who have failed to reveal the black money overseas. There are hefty penalties and imprisonment on the cards if caught. Good evening and thanks for joining us here in India Business Hour. I'm Nayantara Rai. Joining me is Sivri Upadhyay from our Mumbai studio.
Hi Nayantara, we've got a jam-packed evening, the revival of DABHOL, a market rally and some pretty interesting deals in the property space. There's a lot of ground to cover. Let's straight away get cracking then with the market action. Well, we had a pretty strong session. Strong global cues boosted the sentiment on the Lal Street today. The Nifty rallied over 100 points to inch closer to the 8,000 mark. The Sensex surged nearly 400 points to shoot past the 26,000 level. Well, on to some macro data. The core sector has strengthened 2.6% in August versus 1.1% growth in July. And what we have seen in the core sector data is that the surge has been led by a 5.8% increase in petroleum and refinery growth. Fertilizers, natural gas and cement have also fared well. The steel sector, however, continues to languish, contracting by close to 6%. And some more macro cues. The government has hit 66% of its full-year fiscal deficit target, while revenue collections remain higher in the first 5 months of this fiscal year compared to last year. Spending has also been ramped up. Non-plan expenditure has hit 5.4 lakh crore rupees. That is over 40% of the full-year target. So lots of numbers pouring in. Nayantara.
Surbhi, what can be seen as a validation of sorts for the Indian economy? The international rating agency Fitch has said the country will be growing by 7.5% in 2015, which will rise further to grow at 8% in the next calendar year. That's despite the picture looking very gloomy across the other prominent economies, including some of the BRIC nations, be it China or Brazil. In fact, according to Fitch, the global economy is going to grow by just 2.3% in the current fiscal. That's the lowest since 2009. Christine Lagarde of the IMF, meanwhile, just said short a while back the global economy will slow down, but we shouldn't worry too much. Well, let's get to the big story from back home. The Modi government is taking a stab at reviving the controversial DABHOL power plant in Maharashtra. This is a power plant which dates back to the 1990s, to the days of the Enron. We'll get to that history and the recap in just a bit. But let's tell you what happened today. The Union Power Minister, Piyush Goyal, announced the Indian Railways have now been roped in as a stakeholder to revive the plant. GAIL is going to provide the gas. The centre's promised to start paying interest costs to many lenders who have exposure to this plant. Remember, this is an asset which the government is now trying to revive. On many banks' books, it has also been classified as stressed.
In the long run, opening up an avenue for Indian Railways to start becoming by itself a power procurer and then in the days to come also a power generator. This was the short-term aspect where central government has provided support through PSDF, state government has provided support through waiver of certain charges, GAIL is providing support through giving gas, pooling it, procuring gas, and has reduced their charges. So you'll appreciate how a holistic view has been taken, which is a win-win for all stakeholders. In the process, the bankers start getting repaid some of their interest.
Well, here's a quick trip down memory lane just to explain the many controversies that have dogged this project. The plant was constructed in 1995 as a joint venture between America's General Electric, the now defunct Enron, and Bechtel. After riots in the Ratnagiri area by locals and non-availability of gas, the state government stopped construction. But in a few days, the government struck a deal with Enron and then construction resumed. Phase 1 then went online in 1999. The cost to build the second phase jumped to $3 billion, and the State Electricity Board refused to pay up for this cost escalation, and therefore construction came to a grinding halt once again. Now, with Enron eventually going bankrupt, the government tried to revive the project in 2005. NTPC and GAIL, along with the State Electricity Board, formed the Ratnagiri Gas and Power Company Limited. But the plant was shut down once again, first in 2006 and then again in 2011 due to non-availability of fuel, which is of course gas, as well as a court battle between lenders and stakeholders. So amidst that backdrop, perhaps it's safe to say that the centre has an uphill task to revive this project. We've got Anshu Sharma joining in with more details. Anshu, controversies have never been far behind DABHOL, but let's talk about the new action plan, this new ray of hope. How confident is the government this time around?
Two key decisions were taken at Ratnagiri Power Project's board meeting today, which was attended by all its stakeholders, which included NTPC, GAIL, as well as consortium of lenders, which comprises of banks like ICICI, SBI, IDFCI Bank, IFCI, and Power Finance Corporation. The first decision is for power supply to the railways. Railways will be procuring cheap electricity supply from Ratnagiri plant, which will be at 4.7 rupees per unit as compared to 8 rupees per unit, which is average cost of procurement of electricity by the railways. This second decision taken by the board of Ratnagiri Power Plant was on demerging the businesses of LNG and the power business. The LNG terminal has a capacity of 3 million ton, which is not operational, and NTPC and GAIL will put in more equity in the tune of about 2,000 crore to expand the capacity to 5 million ton, and this LNG terminal will supply to states like Karnataka, Goa and southern Maharashtra. So these are the two key decisions taken by the board. Remember, this will only help the banks get their interest cost and railways to get cheaper supply of electricity. Back to you.
Thanks, Anshu, for joining us. That's the idea of the government, is try and split this into two, the two businesses into two, and start generating revenues. I'll lend it to the DABHOL plant. have welcomed this deal. So you have IDBI, SBI and ICICI are the ones with maximum exposure. ICICI Bank's Chanda Kochhar welcomed the initiative that has been taken by all stakeholders, be it the PMO, the Finance Ministry, the Power Ministry and even the Railways, to revive this stranded asset. Speaking exclusively to Lata Venkatesh just a short while back on What's Hot, Chanda Kochhar was upbeat about the revival plan.
I'm very, very optimistic that now the solution will work, because I think this is one great example of how everybody has come together to revive a unit and an asset in the country. I mean, we should thank, starting from the Finance Minister to the Power Minister to the PMO to the Railways to Maharashtra government, who have all played a role in saying that, let's work together and have an asset in the country getting revived. And really the lenders worked with the existing stakeholders like NTPC GAIL, the new stakeholders which would be railways and so on. So I in fact think that not only am I optimistic about the fact that this project should get revived, but I think this can actually become an example for saying how do we get productive assets on the ground up and running.
Okay. Chanda, IDBI said that the loan is standard in their books. Is it standard in everybody's books?
Lata, I think we should actually not speak about company-specific either amounts or classifications. So I would not really talk about that.
No, but what's your exposure? You can tell us that.
You have carried some rough figures anyway, and as as lenders, we never talk about specific exposures, company-specific statements, and therefore I generally don't talk about the company-specific assets. But I think here, what is very important for all of us is to say that here is an example where if we all put our effort and focus around it, we are setting an example of reviving a unit. And what we have been so far saying that we need company level or project level solutions. I think this is really the first major example of that, and I think as a country we should feel very happy about that.
No, but are you sure that the power plant, for instance, will be able to repay? Because at the moment it's only working on break even. Will it be able to service the unit, service the loans at this gas that has been auctioned to it?
So again, Lata, I think it's unfair for me to get into specific details, but what we have to really understand is that even if you start with some part of the power project and that starts generating the cash flow, and in addition to that you have the entire terminal for which there is enough and more business that can be done and revenues can be generated. I think that's a big boost to start with, and that's the positive side, and all those loans in any case become serviceable. So you have to look at step by step to it.
The lenders and the equity holders are together going to put 900 to 1,000 crores in the LNG SPV, but the lenders are also the equity holders. So you have to put 450 crores?
No. We will put only in our capacity as lenders.
Okay.
The equity portion will be put by GAIL and NTPC together.
Okay, so it's 500 crores a piece.
No, it's a little higher than that.
Okay, each of these two groups will have to put a little more than 500 crores each.
That's right.
So your share would be something like 125 crores or 150 crores? Because you are one-fourth of the lenders?
Yeah, it'll work out to that.
150 crore.
It will be 800 to 900 crore for each of the parties. So one-fourth will be ours. It will be 200 to 225 crore.
Okay, so that's the big step taken in from the government. Now, you heard it first on CNBC TV 18. Now it is official. The government has notified new gas prices, which will come into effect from tomorrow. And they are lower than the prevailing prices. Nayantara, you broke the story. Of course, now it's come through. Actually, it's all about gas. I mean, I'm just thinking, tying in so well with that DABHOL story. DABHOL, being one of the consumers, will hope to benefit if prices continue to stay low.
but you don't know how long the gas prices will stay low. And if you have enough gas that can be consumed by DABHOL, because don't forget, power is not on the top of the priority list. You do have a gas utilization policy that's in place. But coming to this story, we broke it first on August 27th. The NDA government has decided to revise gas prices every 6 months. So effective midnight tonight, the new Indian gas price is going to be $4.24 per MMBTU. It's down sharply from $5.1 per MMBTU, almost an 18% decrease. And that's exactly what we had said, it would be around $4.2 per MMBTU. The big reason being, because if you look at that gas price formula, almost a 60% weightage has been given to the Henry Hub. In the United States right now, you have natural gas prices hovering around $2.50. So it's a little above that. But, if I might also add, the consumers are a delighted lot. If you even look at how companies like IGL performed in trade today, they did really well. For example, Edelweiss said that its revenue should increase by 5%. ONGC, one of the producers of gas, and it's not alone, all the producers obviously unhappy there's going to be a lower price of gas. So, for example, ONGC believes its profit after tax could reduce by 1,000 crore rupees. That's what the management told CNBC TV 18 exclusively. So that's the price from 1st of October till March 31st of 2016. And this is one of the reforms that have been announced by the NDA government. Last time round, the government hadn't announced the price when it had to revise on time. We should give credit to the government that this time it's been able to do that 24 hours before the new price is applicable. And while we are talking about reforms, Surbhi, there have been visible changes in the business sentiment ever since the Modi government took over the reins. And the World Economic Forum certainly thinks so. India has jumped 16 places in the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness ranking, a result of the positive way in which the current government is viewed by investors. This is a big jump from the 71st rank that India held in 2014. The report attributes this drastic improvement to the pro-business, pro-growth and anti-corruption stance of the Narendra Modi government. India still has miles to go when it comes to improving that competitiveness ranking. For example, China, Thailand, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Turkey, South Africa, all of these countries have a better ranking than India. Switzerland once again topping the list. Singapore and United States once again coming in at 2nd and 3rd place respectively. And here's one of the authors of the report. She believes India has pockets of excellence in terms of innovation and technology. Here's more from her.
India still has a number of challenges that it faces, in particular with respect to improving infrastructure. The macroeconomic environment, although it has improved slightly this year, is still relatively weak, with troubles in public finance, relatively high deficit. We also see infrastructure deficits throughout the country, and at the same time India has pockets of excellence in terms of innovation and in terms of technological readiness that need to be exploited further and spread more throughout the country.
When a depressive environment prevails in terms of investment or even demand all over the world, India is the only one which is defying or bucking that trend. And therefore they see the possibility that here is a place where we can go. The administration is very ready to receive us. The governments are, both at the state level and also the central government, are willing to work with businesses because they want the whole thing to move forward. They see it as the place to be. And that is why that is getting indicated in the extent of FDI which is flowing into the country.
This success has been achieved at a point of time when globally, across the world, FDI has fallen by around 16%. India has seen a huge surge in FDI inflows, and this is largely because this government has opened up vast sectors of India's economy across defense, across railways, construction, insurance, medical devices. Huge lot of red tapeism has been cut. We've made things extremely easy. We've created the sense of competition among states, and you'll see this competitive spirit among states driving India forward far more vigorously. I expect the FDI inflows to further accelerate and a far greater opening up simultaneously taking place from the economy. So we expect this momentum to further accelerate.
Moving on, it was an AGM marathon of sorts for the Reliance ADAG group today, and Chairman Anil Ambani used the platform to make quite a few strategic announcements. Alexander Matthew and Kevin Lee bring you a wrap of the day's events.
Anil Ambani, by his own admission, has made his mother, Kokila Ben, very happy. At the annual general meeting of Reliance Communications, Ambani announced that the company was in advanced talks with brother Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Jio for sharing of spectrum. The chairman of the ADAG group said the alliance would allow seamless connectivity and offer benefits to customers of both operators in several key telecom circles.
Anil Ambani went on to say that this strategic partnership would be a virtual consolidation of the telecom space in India. But that's not all. He also announced that he will be signing a deal to sell a 95% stake in tower company Reliance Infratel in the next month or two.
The other major announcement of the day came from the Reliance Capital AGM.
The first and most important is that Japan's Nippon Life will increase its stake in Reliance Life to 49%. It currently has 26%, which it bought in 2012 for around 3,000 crore rupees. Nippon Life will also increase its stake in Reliance MF to 49% from 35%.
And that's not all. Ambani also said the company would look at divesting from non-core businesses in the coming months.
We continue to unlock value at appropriate stages through stake sale in our different businesses and through strategic partnerships. We also continue to unlock value of our financial investments in non-core areas such as media and expect to book extremely attractive returns in the future.
In the Reliance Infra AGM, Ambani stressed on the importance of manufacturing in defense and the potential of the government's Smart Cities program.
But more importantly, Mr. Ambani hinted that he might consider selling stakes or assets in his roads and cement business to pay debt.
In the Reliance Power AGM, Ambani spoke about focusing on India's power needs and announced the company would exit its Indonesian coal mines business. The ADAG chairman also said the company would relocate the resources from its Samalkot plant to its upcoming plant in Bangladesh.
So several interesting talking points, but on the top of that list is the strategic partnership between the two Ambani brothers in the telecom space and what that will mean for the rest of the industry. In Mumbai, with Kevin Lee, Alexander Matthew.
The two Ambani brothers to join hands for telecom. The recent currency fluctuations have taken a toll on HCL Tech. HCL Tech has just issued a profit warning a day before the second quarter earnings season begins officially. Rima Tendulkar now joining us. Rima, what are the reasons for this warning? It came during post-market hours, so I'm guessing the stock will also be in focus tomorrow.
Well, two key reasons. One, they've indicated that currency will hurt them. Adverse currency movements will impact the dollar revenue by 80 basis points. And secondly, they're facing one particular client-specific issue. So they've indicated that one client in the public services vertical, there is a problem with them in terms of terms of the engagement. There is lack of agreement, and therefore the company is in the process of disengagement. But financially, it will hurt their revenues by $20 million. So on the top line, there are going to be two bits of impact. One is 80 basis points because of currency, and secondly, a $20 million hit because of this particular project with one client. Now, $20 million is not insignificant. Last quarter, the company had revenues of $1,537 million. So $20 million is basically 1.2, 1.3%. So that's quite significant because IT companies generally give you a revenue growth of 3 to 4%. And this quarter is a seasonally strong quarter. Expectations were high. CLSE was expecting a 3.3% revenue growth from HCL Technology in this quarter. But now, coupled with the fact that there is a $20 million hit on the top line, there is going to be a cross-currency headwind of 80 basis points. That number will have to be lowered. So I'm guessing analysts will be lowering their expectations from HCL Technology's top-line performance this quarter, and that flows through into the bottom line as well. So I think the stock would react negatively tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks so much for that. So an ominous sign from HCL Tech there. Moving on, you heard it first on CNBC TV 18. Now it's official. Godrej Properties has signed on the dotted line to create the largest office space transaction ever recorded. CNBC TV 18, Sonia Shenoy and Arundhati Ramanan have more details on this whopping 1,480 crore rupee deal.
No wonder the Indian real estate sector is all a Twitter. After months of negotiations to monetize its Bandra Kurla complex project, Godrej Properties has sold 4.35 lakh square feet in the project to Abbott for 1,480 crore rupees. That works out to 34,000 rupees per square foot, significantly higher than the prevailing rate of 28,000 rupees per square foot.
I think the scale of the deal, which is the largest single deal ever done in India in commercial real estate.
For Godrej Properties, the move works on multiple levels.
It's been our stated strategy to monetize the commercial portfolio that we have within the company and focus from a new business perspective mainly on the residential space. So this is very much in line with those plans. It's quite an exciting time to be looking at new opportunities. There are some good opportunities at good valuations available. We have also said that we would like to reduce our current debt level, so this will certainly help in a big way with that as well.
Interestingly, though the entire 1.3 million square feet project is a joint venture with Jet Airways, Godrej Properties says the money from this sale will not be shared with its joint venture partner.
The project overall is a profit-sharing joint venture with Jet Airways, but that will only be the sharing of the profit at the end of the project. So from a cash flow perspective, all of this cash flow will come to Godrej Properties.
Godrej now has marketable inventory of 300,000 square feet in this project, and this 34,000 rupees per square foot deal bodes well for any further deals. Of course, Godrej is quick to point out that there is no guarantee that pricing will always swing in the company's favor. However, he says this deal is a sure sign that optimism is returning to the commercial real estate market. In Mumbai, with Sonia Shenoy, Arundhati Ramanan.
Banks are indeed paying heed to the RBI governor and the Finance Ministry's request to pass on rate cuts to the consumers, while the country's largest public sector lender, SBI, and 3 other banks have cut base rates yesterday itself. Today, one of the largest private sector lenders, Axis Bank, along with UCO Bank and Punjab National Bank, cut their base rates. CNBC TV 18's Ritu Singh caught up with the Executive Director of Corporate Banking at Axis, who says they would have brought down the base rate irrespective of the RBI's action, as the cost of borrowing has anyway fallen significantly.
Even if the rate cut had not happened yesterday, I think deposit rates have been coming down, and some of the reduction in cost of funds would have been transmitted. And that part of that transmission is in this 35 basis points which you've done today. And yesterday's 50 basis points rate cut again gave us further confidence that deposit rates should head further lower. And we try to make sure that we pass on some of that benefit to our customers. So the 35 basis points is part of the transmission which was already done in terms of policy rates earlier, and some of it from yesterday.
And RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan believes that there could be more space for banks to cut rates further in the future, especially since their cost of borrowing continues to come down. Speaking to Doordarshan, Rajan, who took everyone by surprise yesterday by cutting rates by 50 basis points, says that the central bank's future actions will depend on all the incoming data.
तो अभी 8 महीने हुए हैं जब से हमने काटना शुरू किया है, तो मेरे ख्याल में डिपॉजिट रेट्स भी काफ़ी एडजस्ट हुए हैं अभी तक, और अब मेरे ख्याल में बैंक्स और पास करेंगे. एसबीआई ने 40 और किया है कल. मेरे ख्याल में सब लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे अब. इफ एसबीआई इज एट 9.3, they can't be much higher.
Well, with that, we have to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks for watching.
Good night.